Hello everyone, welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul, and this week I wanted to do another kit comparo since you guys seem to really like them. So this week I'm going to do the AMT 67 and 68 Cougars. This 68 right here, it's actually a pretty well mint kit, so I'll open that up first. And this is the 67 version. This one is a rebuilder, so I don't have all of the parts. So can't really do a full comparison, but since I do a lot of factory stock stuff, I'll focus on the differences of the two kits and let you know what is different between 67 and 68. And this is a little teaser shot of a 67 that I had restored. So what one looks like pretty much built up here. So so that's one that I had restored, and why I bought some of these. Like this kit came to me towards the end of collecting some of these, as I buy restorable ones off of eBay, some that have been built, glue bombs or whatnot, and take the best pieces to build them. So this one is a collection of multiple build-ups to build up to this point. And there goes the hood. But yeah, I'll do a review on this one a little later, so you can get a better look at that and what I did to that one. So, to get started, of course the boxes are different sizes, which I thought was interesting. This is your traditional 67 box where you can open the whole thing up, and I'll get to that in a minute. The 68 box is the weird side entering box. Really don't know why they did this. I think it was a one-year only thing, and not all the kits are that way. But this one, because these boxes, they tend to lose parts. They can fall out easily. I actually got this kit from somebody who offered it up to me, saying, I've got one. I was looking for parts. I've got one. If you're interested, I'll give you a good price on it, but it might be missing a part or two. Well, it was missing taillights. I had taillights, so that was not a problem. So I put all the parts in the Ziploc bag so that I don't lose any more. So I'll start pulling this stuff out so I can show you guys what's in here. So I start pulling these items out. These always crack me up. The hard plastic drag tires that came out. And this kit is from 1968. Has not been re-released. Neither one of them have. I understand that the tooling was turned into the drag car, so don't expect these kits to come out again. The chances are very slim. There's a 68 Cougar GTE, which is what I dream of building with this. I also have a resin mini exotics version. So, but here's the directions for the 68 Cougar. Pretty simple. It's a 2-in-1 or 3-in-1. It's a custom and then stock. So, oh, and I don't think the decals are in it either. I think those are missing. Here's the chrome tree. I might just send this bumper out to get re-chrome because the chrome is a little worn on both bumpers. But and then the stacks are here that fell off. This is the second intake of the custom intake. So there's that part. But a lot of the custom parts, the stock valve covers, and a lot of stock parts in the mirrors. Now in the 68, they've got these really nice Cougar Magnum style wheels, mag style wheels, kind of like the Traeger SS's, but it has the Cougar emblem, and they were a factory wheel. Really like these wheels. And then here's the custom wheels, custom steering wheel, and then some of the other stuff, the shifters, 2 different shifters, and some other parts that are in here. Custom grills and bumpers, chromed exhaust manifolds, which I don't know why they're on the chrome tree, but they are. Not a decision by me. So there's that. The glass, nothing different between 68 and 69 on that. And I'll compare the bodies a little bit more later. Here's the taillights that I had. They're originals, but they're now in a bag. So the stock exhaust fell off a tree. And here's the custom hood, stock seats with the seat belts. This seat pattern is specific to 68 along with the console, so that is a specific to 68 part. Here is all of the engine, and then another custom grill, and then a radiator. And so this has an FE 390 engine in the kit. It's pretty decent. It's not the best detail. And then the spindles for the front wheels, which have square pegs. Unique to this kit that I know of. You can't rotate the wheels. You can turn them though for steering, which definitely unusual for back then. Here's the stock steering wheel, which is specific to 68. The entire interiors between these two kits is different between 67 and 68. The stock air cleaner, the metal pins, the other half of the drag radial. I'm actually missing one half of this. So here's the headers, the rear window plug, some spacers for the lifted suspension, headers, and the stock exhaust parts. For me, finding the stock exhaust parts was one of the harder things to come up with. The front suspension, the rear axle, which is falling off. The stock hood, stock front valance, stock rear valance, spacer that goes inside the wheel, and then this is custom valance. The other half of the rear axle. And then I got the battery, custom valance, which I believe that was rear bumper one. And then that's for the axle pins. I do plan to build this kit, so I wasn't too concerned about like the missing drag part. These are Gte Hood Scoops that I had cast. So they don't come in the kit, but that's from, and that's also why I got this from Bumper that's not chromed. It's from another one of my kits. I'm gonna change the moldings over to how the GTE has a different molding on the headlight covers, but I will get to that. And then it comes with the 4 tires. These are the stock ones. They're red and white wall on both sides. So, which I thought was cool. I usually replace them out with the Model House ones because these tend to melt the plastic wheels. So I tend to avoid them. Sometimes I'll sell these on eBay. And then also the rubber drag wheels, which these are pretty cool. I'm not 100% sure these actually came in this kit. They came in the one I got, but I'm not 100% sure that they actually belong in the kit. I don't know if they're actually mentioned in the directions. Well, there's all the custom stuff and the stock stuff in the directions here. The dual oil filters. It does mention the vinyl drag slicks and the plastic drag slicks. So I don't really know why there's 2 sets of rear slicks, but kind of interesting. And then there's all the custom features. But it's a car that I really like and a kit that I really like. So now to compare that to the 67, and here's the 67. When it comes to building them stock, and in this box, if you want to see more of the box, there's pretty much the same custom version, and then a lot of the same custom parts here. But this one wasn't the mint kit. You can see the custom stuff on this box. This box doesn't tell you as much as the 67 box. I don't really, and this is a flimsy box. Don't put a whole lot of weight on this. So I know there's a lot of flack that they got over those. Here's a 67, and I actually have the 67 decals. Although I don't plan on using these. It's just kind of funny that I got them. And then the 67 directions are virtually identical to the 68. Both are fully loaded XR7 and GT packages, which is why the model kits have 390s when most of the Cougars did not. Some interesting facts about 67 and 68 Cougars, their first year. They are based on the Mustang. I I'm sure many of you know that. But it has a 3-inch longer wheelbase. So most of the parts are interchangeable with the Mustang, but it is longer car. Gives you more interior room in the car. So kind of an interesting fact. Plus, they only came in this body. Only the hardtop body. There was no fastback and there was no convertible. The convertible didn't come out until 69. So the first year, 67 and 68s are hardtop only. 2-door hardtops. But here's a comparison of the two bodies. Like I said, they're virtually identical. One's 67, this one's 68, but marker lights became mandatory in 68, so they have them. The GT emblem's down here, a little different molding. 67 says Cougar here, no marker lights, and it's got a different GT emblem here. And this one doesn't tell you the engine. This one does say, it's in liters though, I think it's 6.5 liters for the 390 engine. But the chassis, which are exactly the same. A little different than the reissues. But like I said, this 67 has been built. And then the 68. The rest of the body is exactly the same. Matter of fact, the bumpers are the same. And so you can interchange the bumpers when you're restoring these. So it doesn't matter if the bumpers come from a 67 or 68. The hoods are the same. The glass is the same. It's just pretty much the body and the interior, and all of the interior is different. So speaking of the interior, let's get the 68's interior tub out and dash, and get the 67's out. So I went over the body differences. Let's get this out without breaking anything. Put that body away. So hopefully the camera will pick up the differences here. But this is the 67 interior tub. This is a 68 interior tub. They have completely different door panels. Seat patterns are completely different. And one thing that I think is kind of funny, the 67, if you can see that, is an automatic. It's only got one pedal. The 68 interior tubs have a clutch. So it's a manual. Although both cars have manual trannies in the engines, because that was not changed. This one's a little dirtier. And the dashes are completely different. Where's the that's the 68's dash in my hand. Okay. So here's the 68's dash. Here is the 67's dash. So they are completely different. And the 67 has chrome that goes into that to give you the gauges. The top of the dash is the same. The console area is even different. This one has a clock in it. And just completely different dashes. I started to build the 67, so here's the 390 built up and painted. This 67 is a stalled project. And here's the 67 seats, which the console and seats are different. Here's the 68 right next to it, and the 68 has seat belts. So you can get a good look at those. Okay, quick little insert here. I forgot to show you the difference. Here's the 68 steering wheel, and here is the 67 steering wheel. For comparison here as well. I forgot to point out the differences between these two steering wheels so that you know what's kick correct or whatnot. So I figured I'd throw that in there as well. But yeah, completely different steering wheels. But like I said, the entire interior is completely different. Most of the rest of the kit is the same. But so there's that. And then the 67 has completely different wheels. I had the chrome redone, so when I do this I just throw them in these. But the 67 has these mag wheel covers. If I can get one out, here you go. So that's what the 67 has, and these have been re-chromed. The bumpers have been re-chromed as well, which I wrap them in tissue and tape them so they don't get scratched. And I didn't have the stock wheels on this one, so actually no, I do. I'm sorry. They're in my bag here, but that's what comes in the 67. But I like to use these. These are Model Haas number 342s. They work really well. A little bit more of a pie crust to them, but that's what I was going to use on this one. And here is the gauge cluster that goes into the back of the dash on the 67. So just little thoughts on what I'm building and what's going on with here. But that's the main differences between the 67 and the 68 kits. Like I said, a lot of the custom parts are all the same. For me, it was hard to find all the stock parts to build them, because when I find these, a lot of them have some of the custom stuff done. I had a hard time finding these wheels. Here's what those wheels look like when they're detailed out. And these are Model Haas tires as well. I'm not sure which ones these are. They're not the same ones as those. But the 67 is stalled out because I have not figured out what color I want to paint it yet. The 68 I plan to do as a GTE, which is a special 427 version, which that's another trivia question for you want to compare a Mustang to a Cougar. You couldn't get a 427 in a Mustang. It was not available. Shelby did put a few 427s in their GT 500s, but they came with 428s. Ford only put the 428s in those. So it's kind of funny. But in 67, the 427R model, you can get it in a Fairlane. I don't believe it came in any other Fords. But in the Mercury, the GTE and the XR7G, which is the Dan Gurney edition, those came with 427s initially. They were W code single 4-barrel 427s, not the R code 4-barrel. But they were the only car the only Mustang based, this Cougar, that you can get that engine in. So it's interesting that there are no factory 68 Mustangs or 67 Mustangs with 427s, but the Cougar there was. Now there was a limited number of them made, and then they switched to the 428s. So most of the 427 cars are early, and they're very rare. But even the 428 Cougars are rare. Another thing that's interesting, there are no 6-cylinder Cougars. They were all V8s. So another piece of trivia. So while it was a huge seller for Mercury, they pumped out a bunch of them, like 150,000 the first year and like 110,000 for 68. But the model kits represent the fully loaded ones. They got the GT emblems and the XR7 emblems, because there's the base Cougar, the XR7, which had more to do with the interior, and then the GT package, which had disc brakes, the upgraded, and better suspension. And I don't believe all the GTs were 390s. I think initially they were big blocks. In 67 they were 390s only, and regular GTs were 390s. It was only the GTE and the XR7G that came with the 427s and 428s. So they're very rare. And there's some differences on those cars, which is why I want to build one of those. But I figured that should probably conclude this one, and you guys seem to really like the kit comparos, and thought it'd be interesting to really pull out a vintage kits that have never been re-released. I'd love to see these come back out, but the chances are slim, because I understand the tooling was destroyed to make the funny car that Model King had re-released. So that's enough of my rambling on about these Cougars. Car I really like, and I just stuck to these 2 years specifically because the 69 and 70 are completely different tooling and whatnot, so I'll probably get into those at another time. But that should do it for now. So thank you for tuning in and subscribing to my channel. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys again. You have a wonderful day.